pleasure. Thanks for the intro. I've been with the company for about 10 years. I love what I do. I'm involved in a lot of the technical details of our products, and today we get to talk about one of them, which is LifePak. So let's dive right in. Before we actually get into the product and what it is and what it contains, a little bit of background is important. These are just some images of just organizations that have invested many resources and money and programs to get America and throughout the world for that matter to eat better, to eat a more complete diet rich in fruits and vegetables and whole grains and lean protein. But the bottom line is, despite all of these resources that have been invested, it isn't aligning with what the data shows in terms of where we're at in terms of fruits and vegetables. And so, I mean, you can see from this graph here, this was a study that was published in 2010. You can see the minimum intakes of fruits and vegetables, and across the board for the different age groups, you can see that about 30% of us get the minimum recommendation for fruits, which at the time was 2 servings, and the minimum recommendation of vegetables, which was 3 servings a day. You can see about 20 to 25% of us are getting that minimum recommendation. And, you know, perhaps it's due to dietary preferences where we don't like eating healthy foods, or hectic lifestyles where we're on the go, and so we're grabbing, you know, a lot of junk food and processed food on the way, and many other reasons that have been postulated. But the bottom line is that our diets are not very good. And when you combine fruit and veggie intake together, you can see that about 90% of us are not even getting the minimum recommendation. And many experts actually recommend above and beyond the minimum recommendation based on, you know, diet and lifestyle and age and gender and activity. And so from this, it's important to dive into some of the fruits and vegetables that we are consuming, right? Considering that most of us are very deficient and not getting what we should be. When you look at these things on the table about fruits and fruit products consumed in 2014, you can see that you know, orange juice is at the top of the list right there. Orange juice, in my opinion, probably isn't the best fruit to be consumed, just because the fiber is stripped, a lot of the nutrients are stripped. In fact, when you go to the marketplace and purchase a lot of orange juices, you'll be surprised to see that there's synthetic vitamin C that's spiked into these juices, just because a lot of the nutrients are lost during the processing of these juices. You can see bananas, apples, berries, oranges, melons, grapes. On the vegetable side, you can see that potatoes is number 1 in terms of annual eatings per capita. Potatoes aren't counted by many experts as a vegetable, but it is on this list. A lot of them coming from French fries, of course, lettuce, onions, tomatoes, carrots, corn. The bottom line is we're very deficient in fruit and veggie intake, and for the fruits and vegetables that we are consuming, they're not the highest quality, they're not the most nutrient dense. And so when you consider this and you look at the vitamin and mineral intake, which you can see here on this slide, you'll see that there's no surprise that that most adults are very deficient in a lot of these core essential vitamins and minerals. These nutrients are essential for life. Across the board, you can see in the blue column, these are naturally occurring. So this is the percent of adults with these vitamins or minerals below the EAR. That stands for estimated average requirement. That is the level that's needed to meet the needs, or at least the minimum needs, of 50% of the population, okay? And so from diet alone, if you compare that to the nutrients added column, these are the nutrients that are fortified into foods. So things like folic acid, for example, or folate are fortified into a lot of grains and breads and cereals. You can see that there's a dramatic difference there. And then food and supplements. Even when you combine all the food plus the fortification plus the supplements, you can see that many of us are very deficient in a lot of these essential vitamins and minerals. And so even though people and many experts and even nutritionists argue that you should be able to get all of your vitamins and minerals and nutrients from a healthy diet, the bottom line is when you look at the data, we're not getting that. And so you can say, no, well, we should just be getting it from diet, or you should be saying, hey, let me consider the data and consider that there's something that we need to do to be able to fill these nutritional gaps. A lot of experts, I mean, you look at the vitamin D and the vitamin E columns, some are considering that a global epidemic in terms of deficiency levels of these super critical vitamins. Vitamin D been studied, of course, for bone health, but there's some new emerging research in terms of its cell protection and immune activity and mood boosting benefits. That it's one of the more critical vitamins that people are just deficient in. Vitamin E as well. On the mineral side, calcium and magnesium are two of the more common ones that we're deficient in, and perhaps some of the more important ones as well. Calcium, of course, very critical for bone health, but also other functions in the body. Magnesium too. In fact, I was at a conference not too long ago where one of the experts on vitamin C actually had the opinion that magnesium is the most single important nutrient that people are deficient in that will make the biggest difference in their lives. But nonetheless, at Pharmanex, we don't believe in one single antioxidant or one single nutrient as the super nutrient. We believe in this blend or this combination of nutrients that really make the difference. Before we talk about our LifePak product, I want to introduce very briefly our 6S quality process. This is a process that began from the very beginning of the roots of Pharmanex. It's about selecting the best ingredients from the best sources around the world, setting strict specifications to make sure that every raw ingredient and every final product is exactly what people see on the label. It's pure, it's clean. Now you can see here that there's testing that happens in terms of heavy metals, so things like mercury and lead, pesticides, solvent residues for a lot of these plant extracts. I would add things like total bacteria counts, looking at E. coli and Staphylococcus, looking at yeast and mold and moisture content. There's a lot of testing that's done, and that's why we invest so much in our research and development engine and into our laboratories and our testing ability there. So that said, LifePak is a product that does meet all of these 6S criteria. And this is a product that's really about delivering the optimal levels of vitamins and minerals and many other beneficial phytonutrients and antioxidants. So when we talk about optimal or optimum nutrient levels, what are we referring to? Well, at the bottom, you have these estimated average requirements. And like I mentioned previously, this is meeting the needs of 50% of the population. Above that, you have what's called the RDA level. This is the level that you'll see on nutrition panels and vitamin products, where it'll have, for example, 100% of your daily value, whether it lists it above it or below it. The RDA level is established to meet 97 to 98% of the population needs, at least for the minimum requirements for these vitamins and minerals. Above the RDA is what we call this optimal nutrient level, which is backed by a lot of good scientific studies and research, where in some instances, there are certain vitamins and minerals where above the RDA, it makes sense. And so when you actually do dive into our LifePak product and see that some of the values are below 100% of your daily value and some of the vitamins and minerals are above your daily value, you'll understand that it's based on what a healthy diet is, and how LifePak can help to fill those gaps between where we are and where we should be. All of this is important to consider, that still, even at optimal levels, we're well below what the upper limit level is. And this is a level at which there are some side effects if people get at that level or above. And so when we formulate LifePak, we consider what the average diet is, what the optimal diet would be, and then how to fill those gaps, but still make sure that we're well below the upper limit so that it's a safe, well-tolerated product. So LifePak is 7 formulas in one. It's a complete, balanced, and convenient formula. I've actually gone to other marketplaces and tested out, trying to buy the individual vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, all the formulas, and it ended up costing a lot more money and was not as convenient as LifePak, where it comes in these convenient sachets. To call it just a multivitamin product is unfair, because it's so much more than that. And we'll talk about some of those examples today. So LifePak is an antioxidant formula. It actually has 40 plus antioxidants. And antioxidants are these nature's solution to free radicals, okay? And free radicals, when not kept in check, these are these unpaired electrons that are highly reactive and highly damaging to some of these common things in our body, things like proteins and DNA and lipids and cell structures. And so when free radicals are not kept in check, they can lead to oxidative stress, which is linked to just about every age-related condition that you can think about. And so keeping these free radicals and oxidative stress in check through a handful of antioxidants in LifePak is super beneficial. When you look at some of the forms of these nutrients, of these antioxidants, it's important to consider that we're using all natural vitamin E. A lot of vitamin E in the marketplace from competitor products will be in the synthetic form. And there's not much of a difference for lay people, but in terms of the science, there's actually a very big difference. The natural form comes in these natural tocopherols and tocotrienols. The synthetic form only really comes in the alpha tocopherol form, and so you're missing out on the wide range of this whole family of different nutrients in the vitamin E family. In addition to, the natural form actually absorbs at about a 2-to-1 ratio compared to the synthetic vitamin E. So in this case, vitamin E in its natural form is much more superior than its synthetic counterpart, and that's something that we consider in terms of the forms of nutrients that we put inside of this product. We use a buffered form of vitamin C, 500 milligrams. That's significant because typical products will use ascorbic acid, which is a little bit more acidic. The buffered form is kind of a chelated vitamin C form, where you combine vitamin C with a chelate, and it makes it less acidic, it's tolerated better, and it's absorbed a little bit better as well. We have 6 different carotenoids, and these are nutrients that are found in about 5 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. That's significant because the minimum standard of fruits and veggies is about 5, and it changes around the world, but we look at more 5 to 10 in terms of these carotenoid antioxidants, which are very powerful and can be measured by the biophotonic scanner. We have over 20 flavonoids, and these are things like catechins, quercetin, naringin, and hesperidin. These are nutrients that actually come from citrus peels, and these are very powerful antioxidants that can actually bypass the blood-brain barrier and provide some nice antioxidant and inflammatory balance benefits inside the brain and in other parts of the body. There's over 10 grapeseed polyphenols. We have a very high-quality grapeseed extract. Grapeseed has a lot of studies and research on things like circulatory benefits and water balance throughout the body. Alpha-lipoic acid is actually one of my personal favorite antioxidants. It's considered to be a universal antioxidant because it has water-soluble and fat-soluble properties in the body. Selenium, copper, zinc, and manganese, these aren't usually thought of as antioxidants, but they're part of increasing these intrinsic antioxidants in the body, so things like glutathione, superoxide dismutase, catalase, and so on and so forth. When we talk about antioxidants, like I mentioned previously, there isn't one single most powerful antioxidant in the body. Glutathione is often referred to as such, but we really believe, and there's good evidence that supports the importance of a network of antioxidants because they work together. I won't go through this graph here today, but the bottom line is that when we're exposed to these different free radicals, they need different antioxidants. So vitamin E comes along to help neutralize some of these reactive oxygen species, things like singlet oxygen, for example, which is one of the most damaging, most prevalent free radicals in the body because we get it when we breathe. Vitamin E comes along and donates a spare electron, but in doing so, it becomes oxidized and becomes less stable. And so vitamin C comes along and it can donate a spare electron. And so in a way, it's actually recycling the vitamin E in the body. But when vitamin C does that, it then becomes a free radical and it becomes less stable. And so it needs alpha-lipoic acid and glutathione enzymes to be able to recycle the vitamin C in the body. And then you have NAD and NADPH, which are these antioxidant enzymes that are naturally regenerating themselves that kind of complete this cycle. But the bottom line is you just can't have high amounts of vitamin C or vitamin E. You need this blend of antioxidants. Of particular note are these carotenoid antioxidants. Carotenoids are very unique. They have a unique structure, but the point here is that these are considered block chain antioxidants. So they stop this whole negative cycle from happening. And so that's why carotenoids are actually a good indicator of the entire antioxidant status, because they are this first line of defense against free radicals, and they are these super antioxidants as well. So we've done many clinical studies with LifePak. In fact, not presented fully here in this presentation, but there are over 13 clinical studies that have been done on this product. This is just one of them proving a concept that LifePak does increase antioxidants. So we have the biophotonic scanner that measures a class of these antioxidants and is a good indicator of overall antioxidant status. And you can see over the course of 12 weeks that scanner scores on average, they increase from about 18,000 to 32,000. So a very significant 13 to 14,000 point increase after taking LifePak twice daily on a regular basis for 12 weeks. So the scanner measures on the skin, but we also wanted to make sure that what's actually being absorbed in the serum and in the blood and in the body is happening as well. And so these are a few examples. There's other nutrients that we did measure as well, but just for simplicity, you can see here with beta carotene, which is a carotenoid antioxidant, and vitamin E, you can actually see a drastic increase after 12 weeks of supplementation. in terms of serum levels going up of beta carotene and vitamin E and vitamin C and other data that's not being shown here. This is actually part of the same study, but a different point that I want to emphasize. LifePak was not only shown to improve antioxidant levels in the body, but it was also shown to improve cardiovascular health. In fact, we were the first company in the world to show in a double-blind, placebo-controlled study the antioxidant and cardiovascular benefits from nutritional supplements. And so in this particular study, we were looking at LDL oxidation lag time, and you can see at baseline, there's going to be similar LDL oxidation lag times, but after taking LifePak for 12 weeks, you can see that it's delaying that time in which LDL becomes oxidized. And that's significant because LDL oxidation is linked with cardiovascular issues. And so once again, we're showing cardiovascular benefits in this study as well. Some of the nutrients that help with cardiovascular health, a lot of times people think of just supporting healthy blood pressure with things like calcium and magnesium. Even though they're often considered just bone nutrients, they are very important for regulating blood pressure in the body. LDL oxidation, vitamin C and vitamin E are famous for this. They've been highly studied. In fact, that's why they're often studied looking at oxidation and lipid oxidation in the body with athletes, just because they're more prone to lipid oxidation, and that's why vitamin C and E are some of the more powerful antioxidants in that regard. Homocysteine is a marker of cardiovascular health. B vitamins, in particular, things like vitamin B6, vitamin B12, and folic acid are very important for managing that marker of cardiovascular health in the body. And then circulation, there's flavonoids, there's other nutrients that are involved there. And so it's a whole array of nutrients that are supporting cardiovascular health. It's not just one nutrient. Bone health is another one of these formulas that are found in the body. And we don't need to go in depth about, the bone and how it changes over time, but typically, with aging, bone starts good and it grows. It's a very dynamic tissue, but as we get older, that tissue can thin or become more fragile and lead to things like fractures and other bone issues over time. And so we have a very complete bone formula, right? We have calcium, which if you go to the store and buy a bone formula, oftentimes it's just going to be calcium, but it really needs all of these other supporting nutrients. The vitamin D, it's kind of the gateway that allows calcium in and helps to improve absorption. Magnesium, it's an important bone mineral, part of the bone structure as well. And then vitamin K, it's kind of one of those transport vitamins that helps the calcium to actually get where it needs to go inside the bone. Brain health, this is another key formula in LifePak that you're getting. And it's not just one nutrient. Once again, you have ingredients like CoQ10, which is important for antioxidants and energy and mitochondrial function. You have alpha-lipoic acid, which I already mentioned is one of my favorite. It's a universal antioxidant that also helps with nerve support. A lot of people will benefit in terms of alpha-lipoic acid for that reason. We actually do produce a little bit, but we're not getting nearly close to that amount that's been studied to provide some of these antioxidant and additional nerve support benefits. Bioflavonoids, like I already mentioned, they can bypass that barrier in the brain to provide some nice antioxidant and other benefits for protecting those brain cells. Resveratrol, vitamin D for mood. Moving along here, it's a complete immune support product as well. In fact, this is one of the main reasons why people take nutritional supplements, is to be healthy and support a healthy immune response. So they all have different functions. Vitamin A is critical for immune support and supporting immune cells. Vitamin C and vitamin E as well, mostly for their antioxidant benefits. Carotenoids, things like beta carotene, are precursors to vitamin A. Vitamin B6 and zinc are important for DNA synthesis and creation of new blood cells, which are important, especially at the onset of a cold or a flu or an infection, where you want to build up those cells to be able to fight it off as effectively as possible. Eye health. This is one of the major concerns that consumers have, and this is a very nice eye health formula. We have vitamin A, which is important for vision. In fact, vitamin A deficiency is a global concern for blindness and for vision impairment. Vitamin C and vitamin E, for that matter, are very important for the lens of the eye to protect that part. The zinc and beta carotene are also important in that matter. The lutein is a very unique carotenoid. It's found very abundantly in the macula of the eye. And the macular part of the eye is very important for blue light protection, the acuity and the clarity of vision, and so on and so forth. We do sell a separate eye formula for those that do have very specific needs, but LifePak is going to be a formula with a very complete eye health ingredients for the general population. This is what I'll close with here, is that LifePak is a product that's meant to be taken twice daily. And the reason for this is that if you were to only take it once a day, then you're going to be getting decent amounts of vitamins and minerals, but a lot of them are used up rather quickly. A lot of these nutrients are what we call water soluble, where things like vitamin C and a lot of the B vitamins, they're used up rather quickly. So they spike and then they go down and they're depleted in the body and they're used up. And so in order to maintain more consistent levels in the body and to get the better absorption and the better bioavailability and the better saturation of these nutrients in the body, it is ideal to take this product twice daily. And so that's all I have on LifePak for today.